Hey everybody, welcome back. It's been 6 months since we did our solar upgrade from 8 kilowatts to 12 kilowatts and also upgraded our storage solution from 25 kilowatt hours of lead acid to 48 kilowatt hours of lithium iron phosphate. If you haven't seen the video that we upgraded, I'll put it up here somewhere for you. You can go and take a look. There's also another video of how we built the battery banks ourselves using a DIY Seplos kit. It's been a major game changer, it has to be said. Prior to the upgrade, Mandy was constantly monitoring energy consumption, state of charge on the batteries, managing what she was doing. She refused to cook after sundown. The dishwasher to run after the sunset was a big no-no. Happy to report that since the upgrade, the WAF is extremely high, with the result that Mandy no longer constantly monitors the Solar Assistant app. In fact, she's taken to putting the oven on after dark, and last night she actually sent the dishwasher at about 10:30. So, major game changer. I was talking about using the old 8 kilowatt system and splitting that out to run our borehole, swimming pool and spa. But after 6 months, it turns out I don't really need to worry about that. We've got more than enough power coming in, particularly during summer, obviously. But in winter, the solar coming in on normal days is more than enough to keep the batteries topped up and cover the energy consumption that we go through on a day-to-day basis. One thing I'm thinking of doing, because I've got 8 kilowatts of panels and 2 4 kilowatt inverters just sitting in the garage, I'm thinking of getting in an air source heat pump to take the place of the pellet-fired boiler. That way we can heat the house on hot water absolutely free instead of spending €5 a bag on pellets. Let me know if you guys have got any suggestions on a decent air source heat pump to look into. I haven't started researching that yet. A while ago we did install solar thermal, but I'm not that impressed with it, to be honest. It doesn't work nearly as well as the system we had in Inverness. Now, when we first installed the upgrade, that was in November, so we had the 3 worst months ahead of us. November, December, January are generally not great for solar generation, and during that time we struggled to get the battery banks up to 100% charge. In fact, I think it took until about the 6th of February and Mandy sent me a screenshot of Solar Assistant showing the battery bank was finally at 100%. We did use the generator on and off during November, December and January, but not nearly as much as we used to. On the old system, we generally run the generator every 1 to 2 days through those 3 months. Once we'd got the batteries up to 100% and all the banks had balanced, it was off to the races. Until around about the 23rd of March, where we had 4 consecutive really dark days. Happy to report that we only had to break out the generator on day 4, which we then ran for a couple of hours, and then the next day we had a sunny day, so we were back up to full charge within a day or 2. Not run the generator since, and don't expect to run the generator until November, December at the earliest. So all in all, really glad that we did the upgrade. I got a bit of resistance from Mandy because she didn't want me to spend the money, but I said the money was well worth it just to stop her panicking every day about the state of charge. If you can, I would recommend taking a look at the Seplos DIY kits. They really are very simple to put together, as long as you can find a clear set of instructions online. And so far, they seem to have been working flawlessly. I've got the inverters talking to them via BMS, so everything is totally automated. Don't have to worry about anything apart from sending the generator when we start getting down towards 20% battery state of charge. We can take them down to 10%, but I'd rather not. See if we can make these things last as long as possible. I've also yet to install the new charge controller for the panels that I've got vertically on the back of the garage. We really don't need them during summer, but I'll make sure I get those installed for winter time so we can take advantage of the sun that's really, really close to the horizon. They did make a difference on the previous system, so I expect they will help us out through winter as well. The goal, if possible, is to make it through winter without having to run the generator. I know that's probably not likely, but that's what we're striving for. Now, another thing I've noticed, what we've been doing is waiting until we're getting at least 3 kilowatts of solar generation coming in before we fire off the borehole to run the automated irrigation system. And I've been noticing that from about 10:30 until about 12:30, the inverter temperatures are spiking up to about 67, 68 degrees, which I'm not too happy about. So we've made a change in the way that we run the automated irrigation system. We're only using approximately 15 to 20% of the battery capacity overnight. So today I fired off the irrigation system running the borehole pump at 7:30 a.m. and let it run through until about 10:30. And then what we'll do is at 3 o'clock this afternoon, we'll finish irrigating the top lawn. So we're watering sort of before it gets too warm and after it cools down in the afternoon. The temperatures spiked today to 58 degrees and then dropped off the minute we switched off the borehole pump. They've got a little bit warmer now because we're pumping 5 kilowatts into the batteries, but it's still staying sub 60 degrees. So that's a marked improvement. We'll just keep monitoring it. I think that'll work out a lot better as far as trying to keep the inverter temperatures down. I have also been thinking about building a box around the inverters and plumbing in a portable air conditioning unit, but I don't think we're going to do that just yet. We'll see how we get on during summer. Hopefully it doesn't become necessary. Look out for the next video where I open up the battery banks and do a check on cell status, check for any swelling or any signs of abnormal conditions. But apart from 1 or 2 over voltage warnings from the batteries, I've not had any issues that I'm concerned about. So I don't expect to find anything too shocking when I open them up. One of the next projects I'm going to be looking at doing is integrating Home Assistant and automating the pool, the spa, and the irrigation system. Integrate that into Home Assistant so that it can fully manage the watering, when the pump goes, etc. But that's going to be a little way down the road. I need time for thinking and researching and figuring out how best to achieve that. I'll be integrating it with the BTchino home automation that we've already got. So it shouldn't be too difficult to do, but that's for another project and another video. My take on this whole upgrade is well worth doing. Wish I'd done it sooner, and I'm not too sure what else I need to do with the solar system. It's where it's at. I don't think we need any further improvements to it. I don't even think we need an extra 16 kilowatt hours of battery storage, which is what I was thinking of doing. As I say, I might look at using the 8 kilowatt system to drive an air source heat pump in the future. Just got to do some research to figure out if that's actually the right way to go. We could do ground source, but I really don't want to dig up the garden, which we finally got looking pretty good. So air source heat pumps is probably the way I'm going to go, unless some of you come up with a very, very good reason not to run them. Being totally off-grid gives me, I don't know how to describe it, a feeling of freedom, a feeling of total independence, not relying on anybody for anything, which is the whole reason we went off-grid, to be honest. Apart from the fact we're saving a fortune on electricity costs, by my calculations, the system's almost paid for itself already with the amount of power that we use with a borehole, swimming pool and spa. So if you can do it, I would recommend getting solar, even if you don't go fully off-grid, but get a system with battery backup so that when you do have power failures, you can still continue to live your life. So it's day 2 of running the new irrigation routine, and it's making a big difference. I don't think we're going to be able to keep the inverter temperatures below 55 like I was aiming for. It's 33 degrees today, so the temperatures got up to 58 degrees for a short period of time. I then switched off the irrigation It's now charging, and the inverter temperatures are currently sitting at 58 degrees. That'll probably drop off the minute the batteries reach full charge quite sharply. So I'm going to switch the pool on now and keep monitoring it. But I think that following the new irrigation routine is going to help to keep the temperatures down, as I suspected. That's it for this week, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stay safe out there, and until we see you next time, ciao.